What's crackening, guys? What's crackening? So yeah, guys. I just had a memory come up on Facebook of 3 years ago of a live feed that I did. Man, the live feeds have got a lot better since then. I looked like a very uncomfortable kid trying to be comfortable on live feeds. So I feel like the live feeds have got a lot more interactive, a lot more confident in my ability to do live feeds nowadays. But yeah, Michelle's won. How's it going, buddy? What's happening? So yeah, guys, that's it's always an interesting thing to see where you were 3 years ago, where you are now. And yeah, I was unshaven and wasn't too confident in myself, so that's an improvement. Anyway, so I've got this weekend has been a whole load of bullshit for me. Like it's been a bit of a taxing weekend because I have stuffed up 2 knives. Don't really know what has happened. I have a lot of suspicions, but no confirmations, because I need to go to Jack to reaffirm my suspicions. I've spoken to Michelle Zwan about these knives. I've spoken to Tim Brown, Antoni, and I've spoken to Grant Stain as well. And they've all shared their inputs on these knives, and I very much appreciate that. And I think every knife maker's had that point in their life where they've made a couple of fuck-ups and they've cracked a blade, or they've ground the blade too thin, or, you know, I think everybody's gone through that, and it is part of the learning process. And I believe that trying to get past that is one thing, but being able to admit that you made a mistake and showing it for what it is and that you fucked up, it's just part of being real, you know? Or you just talk shit easier. Yeah, I think that's what it is, Michelle. Kamika, how's it going? So yeah, so I ground these blades yesterday, and I was very happy with the grind that I got on them, and I was about to start hand sanding. And before I started hand sanding, I thought, let me do an edge flex test. And on this one, I did an edge flex test, and I ground it away, but it looked like a Simba chip. It was all zigzagged along the cutting edge. Now, I don't know how well you guys can see that, but it is super duper thin, right? So I think I may have gone way too thin on this blade. Michelle's one was also saying to me that it could be a problem with the heat treat, could be a problem with the temper, and all those things, right? So that knife still looks functional, but it's questionable. And I don't want to put questionable work out there. So I'm going to take this to Jack, and I'm going to find out what's happened, what's gone wrong, and figure that out. Then put it on the wall of shame, all right? Because we all should have one of those, I think. Now this one is yeah, it's a whole lot more fucked up. So I'll show you that now. So this one is it's got a nice big crack in the blade, right? Now, it was interesting to see the grain structure on the inside of this, and it is fucking thin. It is crazy thin, right? Now that's my bad, because I shouldn't have gone this thin on a hunting knife. I shouldn't have gone this thin at all on a hunting knife. If it's meant to be a utility knife / hunting knife, it'll cut like nobody's business. But the point is, when you're doing an edge flex test, you want to be able to have that knife bend on the brass rod or the copper rod that you're using. You want it to bend and come back to true, or flex and come back to true, right? So that tells you that your tempering process is successful, and your hardening process, all that stuff, that your blade is good, because you're exposing the cutting edge of the blade to the most ridiculous of or the most strenuous tests that you will put on a knife. You're putting it through extreme stress on the cutting edge, and if it flexes and comes back to true, then it means you've got a successful blade. But if it chips out like this, that to me, well, not to me, but is like this, it shows that it's too hard and it's brittle, all right? But now the other question that comes into consideration here, and I don't know enough to say yes or no to this, but the other question is the grain structure of the steel. Is the grain structure within 1075 hard or tight enough to support a blade of this thickness, right? I mean, if you look how thin that section is there and how deep it runs in, like, I don't know. Around the edge of the knife down to a thickness of 0.6 or 0.8. Sorry, Michelle, just let me read the rest of your message here. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I'm just frustrated with this at the moment. I was pretty bleak last night about it, I'm not going to lie. I was pretty bleak. But I have to remember that this is part of the game. It's part of learning. It's part of, you've got to make these mistakes to sort of, I don't know, learn to be more careful when it comes to grinding, when it comes to heat treatment, when it comes to tempering. And obviously every different steel that you get within knife making has its own properties within the steel, has its own required heat treatment process. And all of these things are the things that we as knife makers endeavor to do to the best of our ability. And sometimes we get it wrong. And that's okay, because it's part of the learning process. I'm just glad that it broke and that I was able to realize that these things are not worth fixing at this point. In my opinion, they're not worth fixing at this point, because, yeah, imagine if I'd put handles on them, hand sanded them, put handles on them, and then realized, or given them to the customer, and then they were using it and then broke. I don't want that to happen. I do not want that. It might happen in the future. I hope to God that it won't, but you never know. So, yeah, we've got these things to deal with. And I kind of just have to get over the fact that these are two blades that I was pretty close to finishing them, and now they're just there. So it's a bit of a kick in the nuts, but yeah, we've got to share our successes, but more importantly our failures as well. I think it's important to share both. You know, everybody loves to see when you're doing good and so on. But it's also important to share the stuff that happens to you that is negative. So yeah, That's just my thoughts. Tim Brown, approve. Yes, please. Let's wait for Tim to get on board. And then we'll have a little chat. Tim,
Trenton, buddy.
what's happening, my boy?
I'm playing around in the garage as usual. Busy
Nice.
working on a little
Ooh,
Viking style crossbeam that I forged yesterday.
that is lovely.
So,
So my birthday is next year,
yeah.
May, on the 6th of May. So just letting you know. So
Yeah, you're more than welcome to come and forge one yourself.
oh, dude, how's your weekend been?
Not too bad. I haven't. Yesterday I had a friend over, and we made him a hammer,
Okay.
and I made a hammer for myself, and I finished off a flatter that was an order, or finished
Yeah.
forging it. I'm still grind and finish it off. But
Yeah.
yeah, today's been a lazy Sunday. I at least did one honeydew job. I got a reading light up in our bedroom so that my wife can read at night because she started studying accounting. So
Yeah.
my very last bits of tobacco.
Jeepers. I've still got a fair amount, but I'm just very thankful from Tuesday we can buy some tobacco, right?
Yeah, I don't think I'm even going to buy normal smokes again. I actually find the rolled smoke so much better,
They're
so much
nice,
more
eh?
satisfying.
It is. It is. It's a
Um,
lot more satisfying. That's what I've been saying to people, but I think a lot of people just don't want the mission of rolling smokes. Um, I don't know. I just find it way more enjoyable.
the thing is, everything worthwhile in life takes a bit of work. So the same is true of rolled
And
cigarettes.
exactly, exactly. And there's a lot less shit in it. There's a lot less chemicals, and maybe I don't know. I find the Rolly gets very harsh when it's dry. When it's got some moisture
Mm.
in it, it seems to be a lot nicer.
I don't have a lighter with me now.
Oh fuck.
Let me just go
Yeah,
see if I
bring
can
bring
steal
it in.
Magnus's lighter.
Bring it in. Bring it in. Bring it in.
Yeah, it's not working, eh? uh, we've got the doggy father here today to give the dogs a bath.
Oh, nice.
Mm, this is
Yeah.
so nice.
Mm.
Do the obstacle course back.
Yeah.
So,
So
what's your
so, dude,
plans
what do you think of
for
my
this week?
what do you think of my throwing knife?
I think it's awesome. I think that'll fit perfectly in with that brand we were talking about, the fuck you knives.
Dude, I was so bleak last night. I was so fucking bleak.
Mm.
Oh man, I was not happy with life, eh?
Mm.
Yeah. It's
I
it's
know
it's
that
soul
feeling.
destroying, bro.
I, I scratched out one that I forged a while back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been about 2 years ago. But in the spine, there's a crack, and that happened in
Uh
heat treatment
fuck.
just over a year.
Shit.
And yeah, I said these are no longer blood grooves or fullers; they're now tear grooves. So
Tear
they can
grooves.
catch my tears every time I look
Yeah.
at this knife.
Dude, Stuart Smith, buddy. Stuart, I was
Yeah, we've got a
watching some
famous
of your
person on
vid.
our feed.
What's that?
We've got a famous person on our feed.
Yeah, we got a famous person on our feed. You know, Stuart, it's interesting that you joined us today because I was so bleak about this knife that I fucked up. And So for inspiration, I started watching some of Stuart's videos on YouTube, and I was showing my dad that Puko build that Stuart did from start to finish. And man, it's so inspirational. It gives you such a lift just to watch something like that being made so beautifully. Like, great job on that video, Stuart. Really, really stunning job.
Yeah, it's nice to have guys like that you can go watch when you're
Yeah,
feeling down about your
yeah.
miserable attempts at life making.
Because, yeah, as I say, I mean, I was feeling, even this morning, I was feeling pretty bleak. I was like, ah, fuck this shit. Fuck knife making. Like, oh, shucks, you're welcome. Yeah, it's one of those things, and as I was saying earlier in this live feed, I think it's important we share a lot of our successes. Very important to share our failures as well. You know, we don't get it right every single time. Hopefully we get it most of the time. Otherwise you're just not fucking learning. But yeah. Whew, that must have hurt. That must have hurt, Stuart.
Yeah, I saw it. It broke my heart too.
Fuck. And this is the thing that you will only learn when you start making knives, is how, like, to anybody else it's just like oh, shame, you know, but when you work and you put your fucking life and soul and blood, sweat and tears into that knife, and then it fucks out, and then you're like, oh my god, why am I doing this? You know, it's such a kick in the nuts.
Yeah.
It hurts, man. I mean, I'm just doing stock removal because I don't know anything about fucking forging, and I want to get there one day. But I mean, I can imagine you put so much more effort into forging something, and then grinding and doing your heat treatment and all of that, and then that fucks out, and then you're like, oh my god, you know, that must be such a ball ache. It's now a smaller dagger. If you can still save it, Stuart, and make a couple of bucks on it, that's brilliant, dude. That's brilliant. But yeah, it's still a kick in the nuts. Not fun.
Yeah, there's nothing worse when you're working on a Damascus knife and it's been forged, it's been drilled, pre-ground, heat treated. You start grinding those bevels, and then you see that telltale little crack. You think, oh shit, there's a D-lam. How far does it go? How far does it go? Fuck, it's a ball ache.
Can you grind it out? Like, oh my god, no, listen. But the thing is, if it was easy, we would be fucking doing it, right?
Yeah.
That's
why it's more worthwhile to.
It's not an easy thing to accomplish. I mean, especially when you're looking at guys like your quality of work, Stuart's quality of work, Neil's, you know, a whole bunch of guys that have got things really, they understand things really fucking well. And it kind of makes you feel a little bit better about yourself when you fuck up a blade, because you know that guys like Stuart, like yourself, you guys know the business, and you still fuck up sometimes.
It's a humbling lesson.
Yeah.
Because just when you think you know what you're doing, then Murphy sneaks in the back door and rams you up the rear.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I've been so scared about grinding these knives, and then yesterday I was feeling good. I was thinking, you know what? I've just got to go in for the grind with confidence. Just try and be as methodical with the grinding as possible. And then I ground them. They were looking good, sweet. And because of Stuart's YouTube videos that I've been watching quite a few of them with the brass rod test. I decided, and then the one came out like a Simba chip, just stayed there. Like I can make serrated knives now, it's just how it is. And and then the other one chipped, and I was like, fuck. It was such a bastard. But you don't want that to happen when the client's got it in his hands. We were talking about this earlier, and you don't want it in his hand. Let's see what else Stuart is saying here.
Grind it like it's free.
Grind it like it's free. And use file guards. Okay.
I must admit.
How's it, Grant? How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, I admit. Stuart said that a while back, and I heard it, and it's like, especially when you're working with like expensive burls and things like that. If you grind it like it's free, it almost half takes that pressure off of don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the end of the day, it's only money. I mean, you can always make more of it. It's temporary.
No, it's true. It's true. It's you've got to almost make that switch in your head to be like, if it fucks out, whatever, but hopefully it doesn't, Hendrik, how's it going, buddy? I see Stuart did Stuart send a request to join? Let's just see.
I don't know, but if he wants to join,
I don't know if we can do multiple.
I have no idea. Try it.
Let's see. No, it doesn't give me the option. Bring Stuart on camera.
Let me leave and see if
let's try that. Okay, that's saying that it can't bring Stuart on board. I think that's because you're on board at the same time. But
okay.
Stuart, let us know if you're down for one of these live feeds sometime in the future. Then we can chat and just talk about different things, because I think it would be really cool to have Stuart as a guest on the podcast that we've been talking about. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what he's forgotten, we must learn.
Yeah. No, that's the fact. And you know what? I also want to do, like, there's so many things I want to do with this podcast thing. Like, for future episodes, I want to have the ability to say, you know what, Tim and I went to, say, for example, Stuart Smith the other day, and we did a knife with him, and this is what we learned, and this and this and that, and da 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 da, and like speak about it, and then have Stuart on as a guest and say, this is what I learned, and what, and talk about the whole process and break it down. Because when the guys who've been doing this for fucking years, they explain in depth the process so simply to you that you're like, wow, okay, like that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of times that I've learned things from YouTube, but the guys are over your fucking head, and you can't just get there. And then when I started learning at Jack's place, he breaks things down so well that you can really comprehend the foundational structures of what you need to learn within knife making. And he's not talking over your head, he's just breaking it down for you so you can really understand what's going on.
Yo,
looks like Tim's frozen.
I was watching. Let me just check. I've still got here. I'm still frozen.
Yeah, your side, buddy. I think you're gonna need to run that Ethernet cable to the workshop for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm back. I think I've switched to mobile data.
You pixelated back. Okay, you're looking better. There we go.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, I was watching Sam Towns and, or not watching, I was listening to Sam Towns and Alex Norton on the Forgecast,
Yeah.
and they were talking about they both doing like YouTube videos for like online learning.
Mm.
Um, but the pricing is less than their normal class. And the people ask them, well, why are you doing that? He says, because there's a difference between learning online, where you watch and then you do stuff. But when you actually there in physical person and you do something, and he says, you're doing that wrong now.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing wrong unless someone is there looking over your shoulder.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Um,
Yeah, and I mean, it makes it more accessible to people, but they don't get that face-to-face interaction that
yeah.
and it's I mean, I'm not knocking online teaching, but I
Mm,
think it's a good option for people who can't afford to go and learn from somebody in person. But
mm,
that's the ideal way to learn. And then
mm,
also, as Stuart is saying, you learn more from failure than you do from your successes. And I agree with that. If you're
mm.
succeeding all the time, either you fucking
You know,
Jesus or you I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know.
if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah,
So you're not pushing yourself to try and be better.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, it goes back to what Jonathan said to me when I tried to make that bow, um, and he said to me, "If you ain't breaking them, you ain't making them." And
yeah.
that's actually true regarding knives as well,
Mm,
because there is going
mm,
to come a point in time, whether it's stock removal or whether it's forging, there is
yeah.
going to come a time where you're going to break a blade.
Yeah.
And apparently, this weekend is my time to break a blade,
Mm.
right? So it's going to happen, and it sucks nuts. It sucks. It's terrible. It really hurts your feelings, but you've got to just be like, it happened. I know it happened to guys who are better than me, so I take
Mm,
solace in that. It's a little bit
mm.
of a comforting message that other guys who know what they're doing also fuck up sometimes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that is very comforting, but it's as long as you can figure out what you did wrong,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
and I think taking them to Jack, he'll be able to maybe see what exactly was wrong.
yeah. I mean, I just don't have enough experience at this point to narrow it down to a problem with the heat treat or a problem with the tempering or a problem with uh, grinding it too thin. I just don't have that experience. So
Mm,
for me to guesstimate, it would be exactly that. It
mm.
would be a guesstimate. It wouldn't be an informed fucking an informed. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for.
Uh, it won't be an informed opinion,
Yes,
or
yes, yes. That's exactly right. So, and we were talking about this the other day on our other live stream as well. Is that you know because I said to you, come up with a subject, and you said getting into
Mm,
knife making,
yes.
and that's pretty much what I'm still doing at this point. I'm not a knife maker. I'm learning how to make knives. Right? There's a
Yeah.
big fucking difference. But that's the thing that I think is the most important thing about learning is to go and learn from somebody who fucking
Mm,
knows the story. Because you're gonna
yeah.
you're gonna have way less frustration because you're able to go to somebody who can almost hold your hand through the process a little bit and
Mm.
just give you advice, you know?
Yeah, it makes a big difference if you've got someone there to show you the right way and to tell you exactly when you're doing something wrong.
Mm,
I mean, almost all my knowledge is self-taught,
yeah.
but it's taken me 4 years to get where I am, and I'm still learning.
Yeah, I don't think there is anything in this world that you can ever know everything about.
No,
If
you have to enjoy the process of learning. I think
you
that's the
do,
main thing.
you have to enjoy that process. You have to be fucking patient. And
Mm,
and once again, it also comes down to being humble about it.
mm,
Even if you're making exceptional pieces, you got to be humble.
mm,
Yes, you're going to know a lot more shit than you did 5, 6 years back, but
mm.
there's never an excuse to be an asshole about it. You know,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
never want to be an asshole to a guy that doesn't know as much as you. You
Mm,
can give him advice, and if he wants to take it, that's up to him. But
mm.
removing ego from the learning process is the most important part of the learning process, because
Yeah.
not everybody's going to give you the advice that you want to hear, but it's the fucking
Mm.
truth.
Yeah, I remember when I was still studying many years ago when we still rode around on Volkswagens. Um, I was part of the Pistol and Rifle Club at UCT. And we found, when it comes to firearms, that women are far easier to teach than men
Mm.
because women don't have the ego associated with, I'm supposed to know how a firearm
Yeah,
works.
yeah, yeah.
And
And
women generally make better shots than men, surprisingly.
I read an article about that regarding archery specifically. This article was about archery,
Mm,
and they were saying that women, when they get the form right and all of those things, they are
mm,
they're much more consistent and better shots than men. And they were
mm,
talking about the control that a woman has of her breathing versus the control that a man has over his breathing.
mm,
Now, obviously, it's debatable and arguable, but this is
mm.
what this study had shown, and I thought that was rather interesting.
Yeah, they may not be able to pull as heavy a bow, but if you give them something they can pull, they're probably going to be a better shot than you are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very fucking interesting stuff. You know, going back to talking about ego is
Mm,
it's something that I like to talk about a lot, because the thing is, when you when I was teaching bushcraft this side and then that side in the
mm,
Western Cape, um, guys get very uptight. You're a younger guy trying to teach an older guy how to make friction fire. He's
mm,
never fucking done it, but he feels that he should be able to do it because he's a man, and that's
mm,
bullshit. It's bullshit.
mm,
You've got to be humble. You cannot, like, if you're paying for the course and then you want to teach the
mm,
course, then go and fucking teach
mm,
your own course. You know?
mm,
Don't come to the course that you paid for.
mm,
That's acknowledgement, first of all, that I know what I'm talking about. And then you pay for the course and then
mm.
you want to come fucking teach me how to do it and undermine my skills and authority over the subject that we're talking about. I'm not saying
Mm,
I'm the shit on bushcraft. There's guys who are way better than me in bushcraft. But I have the
mm,
ability to teach it within the area of bushcraft that I understand and have
mm,
experienced. But this is the problem: is that guys do get the flipping. It's almost like a pull out your dick and see who's as big a competition. You know,
yeah.
it's got nothing to do with your manhood or who you are as a
Mm,
person or your masculinity. It's got fuck all to do with that.
mm,
It's just got to do with, hey, if you're a man and you don't know how to cook, maybe that's like, a lot of guys think that's a woman's job, and that's okay. Like, whatever you think, it's fine. But I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know. I'm having a rant here. I'm gonna stop now. I'm just gonna stop.
No, but ego tends to always get in the way of improvement.
Yeah.
Um, doesn't matter what it is. Uh, that's why you know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and instead of listening to argue, we should maybe try and listen to understand the other person's point of view.
100%.
Because you can still walk away with a different opinion. It's just maybe you have a better understanding. And if you're not open to that, you're never going to get that understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like trying to understand a woman. That's impossible.
That's something my girlfriend says to me all the time is listen to understand, don't listen to argue. And it makes so much sense. Because if you're just listening to argue, you're like, okay, you said this now, so how am I going to counteract that? Don't fucking do that. Don't fucking do that. You're not going to learn anything. Anyway, the point is, we all fucking make mistakes. Take ego out of it, learn from it, and improve.
Yeah. That's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
I've run out of
Stuart's
coffee.
advice. Yeah. Follow Stuart's advice, Just make another knife. You fucked up a knife, just make another one.
And that's something that a friend of mine was also talking to me about sometime, Pierre. He was talking about guys who go hunting. Maybe they shoot an animal and they don't find that animal. He says, in his opinion, it's best for you to go out the fucking next day and take an animal down. Do not leave that farm without having taken an animal. Because now you're going to leave that farm with a bad and negative mindset about that whole experience. And you're not going to make peace with it. You've got to make peace with the fact that you fucked up, but make another one, make another knife, or shoot another animal. You know what I mean?
Well, let's quickly go have a look how the dog looks.
Okay.
Because one of the dogs is finished being bathed. Do the obstacle course. Let me switch my camera around. My daughter's going to kill me. Have I switched the camera around? Yes, I have.
There we go.
Hello, Olaf. Hey. He's all clean and fluffy.
Nice. Now he's probably going to go and roll around in the dirt now.
No, that's why the swimming pool's empty. But he's concerned because the other dog, Lily, is still in the wash tub.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And he's got a little bow in his head.
I remember some friends of ours had this little, well, it wasn't little, it was a little, oh man, what are those, like
Pekingese.
the shepherd dogs, those,
Collies.
no man, the black and white ones, they, such nice native dogs. Border Collie, yeah. And yes. they would shave this thing up to its neck, and they would leave a mane. They would leave a mane, and every time this dog came back, this dog was so self-conscious about itself. Like it was off self-conscious. It was like, oh shit, oh my god, I feel like I don't feel like myself. Like I can imagine if I shaved my beard off now. That's what I would feel like. I'd be like scum. I'd be like, oh no, I don't want to do live feeds anymore.
Yeah, we used to have another St. Bernard. She was a real. But I remember the first time we had her, also walked around like very, very self-conscious of how she looked.
Which is a very interesting subject because, like, if a dog has that consciousness of understanding that something's happened, that it knows it's not supposed to look like that, that shows quite a level of intelligence, in my opinion. That's It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing that animals actually seem to have sometimes, or what we think is human emotions
Yeah.
or insecurities.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually watching a documentary about animals that recognize themselves in a mirror versus thinking that it's another
Mm,
animal in the mirror.
mm,
And they were saying, we often judge other creatures that we know have intelligence, but because we judge them by our
mm,
standards of intelligence, we're not able to
mm.
look at the fact that there is intelligence there, but we're judging it from our perspective of intelligence.
Mm.
Like reason, understanding,
Mm.
comprehension, all of those things that we view as intelligent,
Yeah.
but we judging other animals and other species of animals by our standards. But
Mm.
if you were to judge them by the things that they do, you can see intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Simple example with crows and problem solving. They're incredible
Mm.
creatures,
Yeah, they
incredible.
are.
And I mean, there's so many other animals that we can talk about that have got like next level intelligence, but I
Mm.
don't think we always fully understand unless we work with them and we can see the intelligence firsthand. It's really incredible. It's incredible.
I mean, if you look at guys who do control of problem animals like jackals and stuff,
Yeah,
the jackals are
they're
they
fucking
are
smart.
so yeah.
They're really really
And just
smart.
when you think you figured them out, they'll go and do something different. I
They,
mean,
I heard a story about a jackal, and I don't know how true this is. I've never been able to find any confirmation behind the story. But I heard a story from a colored guy in the Western Cape who knew a lot about the bush. And he said that his grandfather told him about jackals and how smart they are. And he said when a jackal gets like infested with fleas and all that sort of thing, he says it will find a body of water and it will put something in its mouth and it will find a body of water and it will reverse backwards into this body of water and the fleas fucking jump and jump and jump up to the thing that it's holding in its mouth, and then it'll let that thing go and walk out much cleaner of ticks than it originally was. Now I don't know how true that is. I've never been able to find out or find any like any evidence to substantiate that, but
yeah.
it's fucking interesting.
Uh, It's interesting. I think it could be partly true actually, but because I know if the jackal are under pressure, so there's been a lot of hunting of the jackal. They actually start to breed faster. Um, so just when you think you're getting the numbers under control, they just start breeding faster.
Wow,
Um, and it's their survival mechanism virtually.
that's crazy.
So when times are hard and food is scarce, they breed at a slower rate. But when there's ample food, then they breed at a higher rate. And also when there's pressure from outside on their numbers, then they'll also breed at a faster rate.
They really are fascinating because like my friend and I, we had to go and do some jackal culling on his farm at one point, and we had the calls
Mm,
on the machine calling
mm,
with I can't remember all the different calls and whatnot, but we had
mm,
like a distressed hare call and all of these different calls,
mm,
and he shot at one of the jackals that came past, and there were lots of jackals coming in, but we were
mm.
waiting for a good shot. And he shot at one of the jackals, and he missed. Those jackals fucked off.
Yeah.
They never came back. They never came
Mm,
back. We never got another opportunity that night. We tried to do it another 2 weeks later. We got one. After that, fuck off.
mm.
couldn't get another shot in. They are smart. They are fucking smart.
They wouldn't be around if they weren't smart.
Absolutely.
Unlike humans, dumb shit don't survive in the wild.
Absolutely. But I don't know. I always, whenever I hear a jackal in the bush, it's such a beautiful sound to me. Like I miss that. That I can say I miss from the reserve is listening to that sound, that whiny sound in the night. It's an early morning. Oh, such a beautiful sound. Love it. Ainsley, how's it going, buddy? What's happening? So yeah, anyway, what's your plans for this week regarding night?
Well, I've got to finish off that kitchen knife set probably tomorrow, so I can take it off to Sean to get the leatherwork done.
Oh yes.
I've got to finish. I've got a flatter that I must put a handle on or harden and put a handle on. Then I want to finish my little hammer today still.
Okay.
So that I've got a hammer because I need a smaller crossbeam. Well, that's what I'm trying to convince myself of. And then I've got to finish up these two cleavers, and I've got to start forging a mini gladius dagger.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, it's going to be a busy week. Tuesday I'm going to go to the tobacco store. Yes. Because I really enjoy the rolled tobacco over normal cigarettes.
It's a much cleaner taste. It's a much cleaner. I don't know what it is. I just think that there's a whole lot. It's a much more raw product, and I mean this is non-flavored tobacco.
Yeah.
And sometimes they can be harsh. You just stick with that taste after a while. But as I was saying, if you mix like a flavored tobacco with regular tobacco, it actually breaks that flavor up a little bit nicely. So yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about having different options. Put it that way.
Can you...
But yeah, I don't know if it's your signal on your side now.
Yeah. Let me move into the house. A cigarette quickly. Michelle's one says Jackal's here every evening.
I think we should go visit him for a weekend or something.
Let's just move in the house because I see the signal's getting really bad here. Switch off the lights. Can you hear me better,
I'll also
bro?
move inside.
How's that? Yeah, I think for this podcast to work, we're going to need to actually improve our Wi-Fi connection in the workshops.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go tomorrow and price some Ethernet cable.
Yeah.
You said you need about 40 meters.
Yeah, I need to measure it up properly just to make sure, because the way I want to run it because my Wi-Fi router is pretty much here directly across from me, and I want to run it in the ceiling, down, and then across into the workshop. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got probably about a 10-meter gap I've got to go across
Okay.
from the house to the garage.
Yeah.
So I might string up like a piece of cable or something,
Okay.
and then hang the Ethernet cable from it,
Okay.
so that the load isn't on the Ethernet cable itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, buddy, listen, I'm going to call you pretty much directly after this, but I think we're going to end the live feed here. But I
Yeah.
want to call you and just chat to you about a few things. All right, buddy.
All right, buddy. Chat to you
Lekker, man.
soon.
Chat to you now. Cheers.
All right.
Thanks for
Cheers.
joining, guys. Much appreciated. We'll chat to you all soon.